Raven Elise TV.
Hey guys, what's up? It's Raven, and I'm back for the third time in a row with the same shirt on because, yes, it's still the same day. I tried to spice it up by adding a different necklace, changing up my beanie, lip color, whatever, just to give y'all something different to look at. But yes, it is the same day. Don't judge me, okay? This video is going to be a Q&A type video, and it's going to be answering all your questions about college and about my college experience with being a fashion design major at UNT. You guys have heard a lot about me being a fashion design major and me being in college and going to UNT because I posted vlogs about it, and I just recently posted a vlog called Life as a Fashion Design Major, where I took you guys step by step through the process of one of my projects for class. So if you haven't watched that yet, definitely check that out so you can get kind of a taste of what I do in my classes. And then I also have 2 day in the life vlogs where I take you with me throughout my day at school and stuff like that. So definitely check out those vlogs if you haven't. I went ahead and posted on Instagram and asked you guys to ask me any questions you may have about college, the fashion design program, being a fashion design major, anything related to college. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer as many of them as I can. But first, I'm just gonna give you like a general rundown of my college experience. So like I said, I go to UNT and I am a fashion design major. At UNT, they have fashion merchandising and they have fashion design. They are 2 very different majors. Fashion merchandising is basically more of the business side of things, talking about advertising and marketing and I don't even buying for companies and stuff like that. And fashion design is just how to make clothes, basically. At the University of North Texas, what you have to do is you go for your freshman year of college and you take all of these prerequisite courses like drawing, design, and what else, like art appreciation and just like basic art courses that can be applied to any art form. And all the art students have to take those basic art courses first. You take the work that you've done in those basic art courses and you create a portfolio, because it's like this whole portfolio submission thing to try and get into the fashion design program. At the end of your freshman year, you get a letter saying whether or not you were accepted into the fashion design program. And when I was doing that my freshman year, they made it seem really scary, like, oh my gosh, nobody ever gets in. 200 people might apply, but only 40 people actually get into the program. And they look at your drawings and your fashion illustrations, and if you can't draw, then you're not gonna get in, and blah, blah, blah. So I was like really nervous, not because I couldn't draw, because I already knew how to draw. I was already an artist in my mind because I've been taking art classes and loving art for my whole life. So I wasn't too worried about my drawing skills or anything, but they just made it seem like you had to be amazing. So I was really nervous, but I got my letter of acceptance, so I got in. And so sophomore year, I began taking actual fashion design courses. But at the same time, I still had to take regular core classes such as history, math, science, whatever. If you're one of those people who went to junior college to get those core classes out of the way, you'll be much better off because you'll be able to just focus on fashion. But I went straight out of high school, straight to college, no extra shenanigans in between, so I had to do everything all at once. So sophomore year is when I started taking my fashion design courses as well as my core classes, and I'm doing the same thing now. I'm a junior, and then I'll have my senior year, and then I'll graduate, and I'll be done with my bachelor's in fashion design from the University of North Texas. So like I said, for the fashion design major, the main objective is learning how to make clothes as if you were a designer and you had your own clothing line and you were the one drawing, pattern making, and constructing the clothes, like as if you're doing everything yourself. So they teach you how to do everything from the drawing point all the way until the finished garment. So now I'm going to get into you guys' actual questions. I Am Sade said, when working on a fashion project, does other work from other classes stress you out? Yes, like I said, since I didn't go to a junior college or get my associates out of the way before I started the fashion program and having to do both at once, it's really hard. Most people in the program don't do that. Most people get the stuff done out of the way first, and then they just focus on fashion. Like I said, I didn't do that, so I have to juggle my math class, my science class, my philosophy class, I can never say that word, and also worry about my fashion design projects, and it's really stressful. So yes. Brittany said, have you ever made something that you're proud of but it got negative feedback, and how do you deal with it? Yes. Well, yes and no. There's been times when I was like, I really like this, I think I did a pretty good job, and the teachers will not be afraid to rip you apart. And the thing about any art type of major is that this is art. No matter what kind of art it is, it comes from the heart. You put a lot of work into it. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard that quote, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my ish. Yeah, if you spend the time to create something with your own two hands, hearing somebody say, no, that's not good, or I'm gonna give it a failing grade, it's really gonna hurt your feelings. It really sucks. And sometimes you might disagree with your teacher. You might say, this dress is amazing, I really like it, I think it looks really good. And she might say, no, those colors don't go together. And you might be like, well, I think those colors do go together. And she'll be like, no, they don't. And so sometimes you really just don't agree with your teacher. So it can be really annoying sometimes. Oh My Chic said, did you dorm? How was it? Yes, freshman year I stayed in a dorm, and if you're looking at UNT, I stayed in the Kerr dorms, and those were known as kind of like the party dorms or the fun dorm to stay at. They were co-ed. It had like a girls' tower and a boys' tower, and they're really big, so it had tons of rooms, and it was 2 people per room. For the most part, they had a few rooms where it was 3 people, but it was 2 people per room, and then it was suites, so it'd be a room and a bathroom in between. So it'd be 2 people, and y'all would share a bathroom in between. And so I like the fact that we kind of got our own bathroom. We didn't have to go through like a community bathroom down the hall or anything. And then they also had laundry rooms down the hall, and it was very social. You make a lot of friends. They had like one of the most popular cafeterias on campus, so everyone would always go to that cafeteria. So it was really fun living there, but of course that can also translate into it being like really loud when you're trying to get your work done. But if you're a social person who's trying to make friends, I do recommend that you stay at Kerr because it's the perfect dorm to make friends in. And I believe that at UNT you have to stay at a dorm when you're a freshman. I don't think you have a choice. You can choose to stay in a dorm longer. I mean, you can stay in a dorm until you're a senior, I guess. But I was ready. Like, I like the dorm life, but not to where I wanted to stay. So I was just so ready to get my first apartment. So sophomore year is when I got my first apartment. And yeah. Be the Bell asked, could you draw before you started your major? Like I said, yes, I consider myself a good artist since like middle school. Like even when I was really, really young, I would always be drawing. I would always be doing all different types of art. So, I mean, I felt like I was a pretty good illustrator even before I started college. VIP section says, what internships have you had? How did you go about getting internships with major companies? I have actually never had a legitimate internship. My story is a little bit unique because of my whole YouTube thing. I work with companies, but I don't work with them in a sense that relates back to school or is like a legit internship. My biggest company that I've worked with is Wet Seal. I've been working with them a lot recently, doing a lot of different things with their corporate office, but it's not an internship and it's not directly related to fashion design, if that makes sense. It's more about the whole YouTube thing, but I'm still getting that experience with working with a fashion company. And I've gotten similar experience from other companies that I've worked with through YouTube, but I've never actually had a real internship. Miriam Hattie 99 says, what classes do you take to become a fashion designer? So my classes for the program include pattern making, sewing, illustration, where they literally teach you how to draw with markers, colored pencils, and watercolors. And then they have fashion design, which is just fashion design. Like, it's basically sewing and pattern making combined into one class. Once you do those first classes, it's like the higher level where you're just, you know, designing and making your own clothes. And then you also have the computers class where you're learning how to use Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator to be able to create illustrations on the computer. You learn how to use Gerber, which is like online pattern making software. And just like you learn how to use other software on the computer that a fashion designer would need to know how to use. And then you also take fashion history, which is pretty self-explanatory. And like I said, all of those basic art classes, prerequisite classes, like just regular drawing and regular design and art history and stuff like that. Justice M. Green said, "What if I can't draw?" I get this question a lot, and I know I've gotten this question multiple times just in these comments. People are worried they don't know how to draw, they don't know how to do those cool fashion illustrations, they're not going to make it into the program, or they're not going to be able to be a designer. That's not true, because you take classes about it. They will teach you. The point of the class is to teach you something new. So if you can't necessarily draw, you will learn it from the class. Now, the whole thing about submitting your portfolio, yes, they are going to want to see your drawings. So I do suggest practicing if you are in that situation where you're having to submit a portfolio for your program. They're going to be looking at your drawings, so you want them to be pretty good. So, I mean, practice makes perfect. There's tons of videos on YouTube about fashion illustration, and even if you can start off by tracing some printouts, that always helps. And just look at, you know, famous fashion illustrators, get books, look online. I mean, there's tons of ways that you can just teach yourself and practice at home. Forever I Am Blessed asks, what do you plan to do after you graduate as far as jobs and everything? I'm kind of unsure about post-graduation. I don't know exactly what I want to do or what I'm going to end up doing. I would like to be able to continue YouTube and continue my online boutique, Custom Thrift, to be able to just make that my career. Like, I'll make money off of YouTube and I'll make money off of Custom Thrift, and that'll just be what I do. And I basically work from home and just do my own thing and be my own boss. That's my dream. I did actually recently just get a job offer for a company in LA. I'm not gonna say the company or anything because, you know, but it's a job offer in LA, fashion, beauty related company, really big deal. The thing was, they wanted me to come to LA right now, and I'm not even graduated from college, so I couldn't do that. But they did say, you know, feel free to contact us after you graduate. So I would really like to just move to LA and explore, you know, different opportunities. What are some opportunities that living in the Denton, Dallas area has allowed you to pursue that you could not pursue living in Austin? Because I'm from Austin, but I moved here for college. And I mean, I would just say that Dallas is way more of a fashion area than Austin is. When I think of Austin, I think more of music rather than fashion. But Dallas is a big up and coming city for fashion. So there's always like fashion shows going on and just fashion related events to where you can go to these things and network with people and get involved in different things that I feel like would not be happening in Austin. FU I'm Cool said, how do you keep your grades up while still doing everything you do? And by everything, I guess she's meaning like modeling, YouTube, custom thrift, school, you know, all these different things that you guys see me doing. I do have a lot on my plate, and I do keep a pretty busy schedule, and it gets really stressful. I'm not gonna lie. My grades do go down sometimes. I'm not like an all-A student. I used to be an all-A student, but when I started incorporating more things into my life, it started getting harder to keep my grades up. So my grades are not exactly where I want them to be right now. I mean, I'm not failing or anything, but I mean, I kind of just try to keep a balance. I personally do not think it's important to have all A's in college, because when you graduate, you graduate. They're not gonna zoom in on your grades and say, oh, you got a B in this, oh, you got a C in that. Nobody is gonna care about the details of your grades after you graduate. It's just whether or not you graduated. School is not your life. School is not everything. School is not gonna be your ticket to success. Just because you got a degree, just because you got really good grades, does not mean that you're going to be a famous fashion designer. Actually, it really does not mean that you're going to be a famous fashion designer. Grades have nothing to do with that. It's more about your networking, the brand that you've made for yourself, the name that you've made for yourself. So in a way, I kind of care more about YouTube than I do about school, if that makes sense. But you still have to keep a balance. So a lot of people are asking about my general experience at UNT. Do I like this school and blah, blah, blah. My general experience at UNT has been pretty good overall. I don't really have any major complaints about the school. One main complaint that I have now is that like the whole campus is under construction right now. Like everywhere you turn, there's construction going on, and there's like all these different detours, and it takes forever to walk to class because there's a bunch of construction in the way, and it's really loud and it's really ugly. So I really don't like that. But like the people here are people. I mean, it kind of feels similar to high school where it's kind of cliquey. It's kind of like you have the mean girls over here and the jocks over here and the black people and the white people. UNT is a diverse school, but you wouldn't know it because the races stick together for the most part. Like you're gonna see all the black people over here, all the white people over here, all the Asian people over here. So it's kind of hard to like intermingle between groups sometimes. Greek life is pretty prevalent, so if you're not in a sorority, then you're not gonna talk to the people that are in a sorority. So it's kind of cliquey in that sense, but I think that that's just how school is in general. Like I wouldn't really say that's just like a UNT problem. Patty Loves You asks, how many classes do you have each day? Do you recommend morning, afternoon, or night classes? I don't get much of a choice when it comes to my schedule. One big thing that they always tell you to look forward to when you're in high school about college is you're going to get to pick your schedule, and you won't have to wake up early if you don't want to, and you can take classes at night. It's going to be so awesome. Well, specifically for me, for the fashion design program, they basically give you your schedule. You don't get to pick like, oh, I'm just going to take all my classes at night, because the classes are only offered in the morning. So you don't really have a choice. So I usually always have a class that starts at 8 a.m. and I could sometimes, there's been a semester when I went from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. having classes all day long. Like I only have one class on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 a.m. to 11, and then I have 3 classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So like my schedule is not too bad, but it is in the morning because I didn't get to pick that. But if you do get the option, I would still recommend having like morning or early afternoon classes. I don't recommend having night classes because I know people who have nighttime classes and they basically don't do anything all day, and then they have class at night, and then boom, that's their day. So it's really unproductive. Whereas if you have class early in the day, you can go to class, get that done, then you have the whole rest of your day. You still have daylight to be able to do other things, go to work, do your homework, do stuff like that, and get a good night's sleep and start over the next day. So I just really don't recommend night classes. Brie Bella said, if you didn't get into the program, did you have a backup major, and what was it? I did not have a backup. I've never had a backup. Fashion design is the only thing I've ever wanted to do. That's why I was pretty nervous about applying, because I was like, if I don't get in, I literally have no idea what I will do. Now, most people, they'll say, oh, if I don't get in, I'll just do fashion merchandising, because at least it's still fashion. It's just like the business side of things, which I probably would have ended up doing that, but I didn't want to do that. So really it was just all fashion design all the way. Another frequently asked question that I see in here is, would I recommend UNT? Would I recommend UNT's fashion design program? And it kind of goes along with, do you even need to go to fashion school at all? Like, do you recommend even going to school if you just want to do fashion? If you would have asked me this freshman year, I would have been like, yes, UNT, yes, fashion school, go to school. School is the way to go. But after going through the process a little bit, I have kind of realized that I could have not done this. I could have not gone to school. I mean, it would have been much different and probably much more difficult to live my life, because I was 17 when I graduated high school. So being 17 and not going into school and just trying to just live my life and be an adult and get my own job and get my own place to stay, that would have been really hard for me. So that just gives you time to kind of have that transitioning point in your life from high school to real life. If you go from high school straight into real life, I mean, more power to you. That's really scary for me. So that's why I appreciate the time that I've had in college. But in terms of the actual fashion design program and what I'm learning as a fashion designer, do I need this degree to be a successful fashion designer? Do I need these classes to be a successful fashion designer? I don't think so. Because the things that I'm learning in class, you can find on YouTube. You can literally go to the library and get you a couple books, look up a couple of videos, Ask a friend, ask your grandma, and you will learn everything you need to know about making clothes. Because if you think about it, making clothes is not rocket science. It's not that hard of a thing that you need to get a degree to learn it. If you are brave enough, old enough, secure enough, and enough of a hard worker, you can skip the school step and just go straight into, you know, designing, straight into trying to start up your business, straight into internships, straight into a job. Like, you don't need college to learn fashion design, in my opinion. But you do need college as like a stepping stone just in your life, if that makes sense. Addicted to My Lifestyle says, I have nobody around me that is into fashion. How do you find people to link up with and start something? And other people were asking about networking too. Networking is extremely important in this industry. If you don't network, if you don't make people know who you are, if you don't create those connections, you're going to get nowhere, because you just need exposure and you need like a team with a lot of things. So obviously I'm in fashion design school. I talk to my classmates, duh. I mean, those are the people around me that are into fashion. So I make friends with them, I network with them, I do different activities and different, you know, events with them. And then also just being in the Dallas area, just trying to get out in the Dallas scene. Find people on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook who are doing something that you want to be doing and be like, hey, I need to be your friend. I want to come with you next time you do this thing so I can do it too. And you just kind of like find somebody that you look up to and like latch onto them and follow them around, if that makes sense. It's important to make friends who are also going to be able to help you. There's people at my school who do graphic design or are photography majors or something like that. Make friends with those people. Go to your school's fashion shows and talk to people. Like, you just have to go to those events. Go to Dallas. You just have to like go out and talk to people. That is how you network. I see people asking like, how did I know that I wanted to do fashion design? This has been something that I've been interested in since I was literally like 2 years old. I've always loved clothes, I've always loved fashion, and more than that, I've always loved all different types of art. So if you think of clothes and art and put it together, what do you get? Fashion design. So this is just something that I've always loved since I was little. I've never wanted to be anything else, so it was pretty easy for me to pick my major. A lot of people asking me about tuition, loans, scholarships, the whole financial aid aspect of it, and I have to be honest and say I don't really know much about that. My parents, for the most part, handle it. Yes, I know that we took out loans. I also do have a scholarship because when I was fresh out of high school, I applied for like 100 scholarships. Just any and every scholarship that I could see, I applied for it, and I ended up getting one, and I forgot how much it's for, but I did get one scholarship that helped a little bit. We did take out loans, and yeah, mostly my parents just handle that stuff, so I don't really know. Okay, so I think this is a good question to end off the video. She wants to know, what is it like dealing with boys in college, and just any advice for talking to guys in college. Well, as you know, I have a boyfriend, and I did meet him freshman year of college, and I mean, without going into too much detail of our whole personal relationship, we did not start off on the right foot. He was just a typical college guy, and it was just a typical college relationship, and dealing with boys in college is hard. It's sad, it's annoying, it's frustrating. Any other negative adjective that you could use, that's boys in college, because it's just like everyone has probably already told you. Oh, they're only looking for sex. Oh, they only want you for your body. They don't want to settle down. They don't want to be in a relationship. All they want to do is party with their friends. They're going to cheat on you because there's so many girls available for them. It's true. It's all true. Like, I can't lie to you. You have to be really, really careful when you're talking to guys in college. That's my number one tip. Be careful. Dot all your I's, cross all your T's, watch your back. There's lots of sneaky stuff going on in college. There's lots of cheating. There's lots of lying and just being slutatious. So yeah, just be careful. Don't expect to find your Prince Charming right away, because most boys are not in that mindset at all. They're just not. From everyone that I know and that I talk to, and all my friends who have been in relationships, and even my guy friends have told me that if you're a freshman or a sophomore in college, Like, don't even try it. Like, don't expect the dude to be serious or anything, because they're just too young and they're in this new awesome college environment where they can have all the girls they want. They're just not going to do it. It's only until they're like a junior or a senior in college that they really start maturing and wanting to settle down when it comes to girls. So that's just my general experience. Obviously, there's exceptions to every rule. I'm not saying every freshman or sophomore college boy is bad, but for the most part, they're not just So you just have fun your freshman and sophomore year of college if you can, and then you can start, you know, settling down and dating seriously if you're like a junior or a senior. That's my advice. But yeah, I hope that answered most of you guys' questions about the fashion design program or just about college in general. I know this video was super long, but I wanted to answer as many questions as I could. If you guys have any more questions on top of this, just leave them in the comments and I will answer them. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye! Hey guys, it's Raven, and I'm here with a mailbag video. I have